Good afternoon, everyone. I'm again on my way for a webinar session. The reason I'm, doing it now and in my car is I don't get the time to kind of sit down and record. And so, as we all know, that India is reeling under, the severe, COVID 19 situation where all over India we are going through a little tough time. So the first thing which I would like to convey is I would request you all to stay strong, stay positive. That is very important. And if you can help those who are really needy, please try to help them out. Distribute a bit of your money towards people who really need the desired help. Seeing the current situation, that would be great. Okay, that is just a part of what I wanted to convey. Secondly is I get a lot of messages asking me what precautions one should take now in the current case scenario. So I would say nothing has changed as compared to last year. The precautions would be more or less the same. Don't touch your eyes, nose and mouth. That is very important unnecessarily. If you're home and hand washing is possible, keep washing your hand every half an hour to 45 minutes. And if that is not possible, if you're working, if you're still going to work, then please sanitize your hand as often as possible. Also, if you are going to a crowded area, for whatever be the reason, either for groceries, now everything is available online, but sometimes I see a lot of line, people are still going out to buy groceries. So then please wear double mask. Have a nutritious balanced diet. I think Indian food is the most balanced. Traditional Indian food is the most balanced diet, so stick to that. And in case you have any symptoms, please contact your doctor on an immediate basis. Today I'm going to have a session on COVID vaccinations. So I would like to share it in this particular video itself. Once it is done, it would be conducted by Dr. K. Sailaja. She's our senior most consultant pulmonologist and an amazing lady working round the clock. So I hope you would listen to her, and I hope that would be of value and importance to you, and you will be able to adhere and understand things in a better way.
COVID-19 has been the name given for the disease which is caused by coronavirus. So let us understand what is COVID-19. COVID-19 is coronavirus induced disease. And since it all happened and started in 2019, we all know the story that it started in Wuhan, in China, in the wet meat market. So that's why called COVID-19. And this is the virus which is known to cause it. How does the human being get affected by it? So SARS-CoV-2 virus is a positive stranded RNA. And it binds to the ACE2, it's an enzyme in our blood, and it binds to the antigen, and antibodies are produced, IgG and IgM, and which bind to the HLA antigen, and it causes immune damage. So immune damage is caused by a storm caused by many cytokines. So any insult to our body reacts. So why is it dangerous here? Why is it different from other things? Because it produces IL-1 beta, IL-6, IL-8. You must be all getting all this COVID profile done. So IL-6 is a marker which we very frequently use. So IL-6 is an inflammatory marker which, if very high, we know that this patient is going to get into trouble, and we watch these patients affected by this virus. So there is an entry, coronavirus entry, and there is a replication. So replication, it rapidly multiplies. So from one virus it multiplies to many, and then it goes through the cytosol, it goes to, it replicates and then it releases into the system. So once it releases into the system, there is an antigen presentation through the macrophage of the lungs, that is the infection homing cells, and then they go to the dendritic cells, which have a little bit of tentacles which will catch hold of the virus, and it is presented to the epithelial cells. And this process can release the cytokines. So cytokines, we are also talking about cellular immunity and humoral immunity here, which says that if we inoculate with a little dose of the virus or the virus products, we will get a humoral immunity, that is the circulating immunity, which helps us in fighting the disease. So this is exactly the basis on which the vaccines are based, and how we are using that vaccine-induced immunity to fight the disease. So how do you diagnose COVID? Diagnosing COVID, let us not go through all this. I will tell you very simply. Either we do an RT-PCR, or we do a rapid antigen test, or we do antibody test, which only shows that you are exposed to the disease, or we do a CBNAT disease, which is a cardiac acid of the virus. All said and done, it does not replace the clinical suspicion and what we see in radiology. But RT-PCR is the gold standard. Even if you do rapid antigen, you do antibody, you do CBNAT testing, or you do any other immunological test, RT-PCR is the gold standard. So along with the doctors, along with the history of the patient, the doctor's assessment, and then the CT scan. So CT scan, it has been shown to be very typical of this COVID disease. So there are many appearances we see in the CT scan, like we are taught medically that it could be just reticular patches, or it could be a consolidation, it could be a cavity. But these type of ground glass appearances, which later on coalesce to form a crazy waving pattern, and then later on they end up with fibrosis. So these are typically very commonly seen in COVID-19 pneumonia. But then this is not the only diagnosis. So what the clinician has to do here is look at this, listen to the patient. When the patient says that these are the symptoms I'm having, then we also see the duration of the symptoms, and then correlate with the RT-PCR and the radiological features. So another question so once you have the infection and it's treated, then people say, oh, I have got COVID-19 disease, do I get it again? So as early as last year, March, that is almost 1 year back, we got reports of recurrence of positive COVID-2 RNA in the throats. And now amongst our groups, our colleagues are discussing that there are cases of a third infection. And we have doctors who have taken 2 doses of COVID vaccine, but still they turn out positive. So we are still learning. It's new for us, and day by day there are new developments. What is the inference that we see that there is a changing pattern in the disease? So you are all reading the newspapers, you are also listening to the news. We keep on talking about variants. There is a UK variant, there is a South African variant, then there is a variant in Brazil. So all this, the virus is very intelligent. So it changes its genomic pattern, and so it as soon as we develop our immunity against a particular strain, another strain may affect us. So this has importance in the public health management, that just because we get COVID or we take vaccines, it doesn't mean that we are completely immune. You can still get attacked by the newer variant. So that is why there is so much of talk about taking the universal precautions like masking, maintaining distance, and hand washing. The most important thing stop all the public functions. So that is what has caused the second wave, I think. So we should be a little careful and be very, very discreet if we are invited for any function, and try to at least have a virtual presence. I think that's enough in these pandemic times. So moving on, now that I've introduced the topic and we have understood COVID-19 a little, so we will move on to the vaccines for COVID. So the speed of development of vaccine is a response to the pandemic that has unsettled health and economy across the world. This was a statement made by the President of Public Health Foundation of India, Dr. K. Srinath Reddy. He comes very often on the news channels, so I'm sure you are aware of him. So this statement really is very, very true for this pandemic. This is the first time I've seen a pandemic in my lifetime and in my career. So lots of lessons to be learned here. So let's see, how does the vaccine get approval? Typically for a vaccine to get approval, like if we talk of vaccines which were developed for polio or which MMR, hepatitis B, so it typically goes through about 5 stages. The exploratory stage, the preclinical stage. Preclinical is studied on the animals. Then clinical development stage, which is on humans. And regulatory review and approval. No vaccine which has to be given on human beings is done without a regulatory trial. And we have regulatory boards. DCGI you must have heard. So right now I'm involved in another trial for tuberculosis, where we have very, very strict monitoring of what we are doing, and any adverse event, serious adverse event, has to be reported to the monitoring authority, that is DCGI. And then once the DCGI approves, then we go into a manufacturing phase. After manufacturing, we look at the quality control. So typically these are the 5 stages, and it takes a long, long time to develop a vaccine. But did we have the luxury of doing all this for COVID? No. So what happened here? So we started running at a warp speed. So what is a warp speed? Typically there are clinical trials which go through 3 phases. Phase 1 is conducted in 100 volunteers to study safety and side effects of the vaccine in trial. Phase 2 is when 100 to 1000 volunteers are there to study the safety and side effects and the safety of the vaccine. And phase 3 is when more than 1000 subjects. Phase 3 is typically all the COVID vaccines are in phase 3, where we know that there are so many sites who are doing trials simultaneously, and then at the end of the period they all pool the data and look at what happened, how many adverse events were there, how many serious adverse events were there. So, but now this is a new paradigm. We are working at a warp speed. That means we are running very fast, and we are doing all phase 1, 2 and 3 trials simultaneously along with large scale manufacturing. We are seeing when Serum Institute of India gets permission to manufacture so many millions of doses, and even at the same time Bharat Biotech is also getting the permission and the funding for doing that. So now we are doing all the trials at the same thing, and we will be wiser maybe 1 year hence. So what are the potential concerns? Potential concerns of developing the vaccine so fast is that the vaccine safety may be overlooked, and we do not know what is the level of the protection. It is not correctly assessed. So let's talk about the 2 vaccines which we have developed. So one is the Covishield vaccine, which most of us have received. So it is developed by researchers at Delhi University in under Oxford University. and it is made from a virus which is CHADOX1. Means it is made from a vaccine in a chimpanzee. It is an adenovirus and it has been done by Oxford University. So that is why it is CHADOX1. And currently a Swedish-British firm AstraZeneca and Serum Institute of India, which is a Pune-based firm, they are currently manufacturing it. ICMR along with Serum Institute of India is conducting phase 2 and 3 trials, and early analysis and also what we have seen. Recently the press has released its safety and immunogenicity, which has been at 78%, means in every 100% participants vaccinated, about 78 showed a good immunogenic response. So people are quite happy with it. And Covaxin is being produced by the Hyderabad-based Bharat Biotech company, which is developed in collaboration with ICMR's National Institute of Virology, and it has completed 1 and 2 phase trials. And only one adverse event was reported in which there was some neuromuscular weakness and who recovered. So now we are ramping up this production of this vaccine also, and we hope to cover whole of India now with both the vaccines. So Moderna is a messenger RNA vaccine, which was the first COVID vaccine to go into trials. It was based on a messenger RNA. So what is this messenger RNA? There is a DNA material in the nucleus of the human cell, and when that has to be transcripted, there will be a RNA, small protein, which carries that message to the replication platform. So that is called a messenger RNA, and messenger RNA will see that it is replicated and we gain the required serum levels for immunity. So this messenger RNA transcripts the COVID virus spike protein. So I was talking about the crown. So the crown is the spike protein. All the spikes have information about the protein. So that protein is replicated. So interim analysis reported a 94.5% efficacy. It had minor effects like pain, muscle aches, headaches and fatigue. Just now I did a consultation. The gentleman has been my patient, doing very well, but he received the vaccine and his only complaint was fatigue. So what I had to do was test all the parameters. The clinical parameters were normal. So what I had to do was just reassure the patient and say, no, you're fine, just rest and take care of your other health issues. So this was a study enrolled in US, and expected cost is around $35 per dose. And Pfizer is manufacturing, which is also a messenger RNA vaccine, shows an efficacy of 95%, but the drawback is it needs to be stored at minus 80 or minus 90 degrees centigrade. So storage and transportation is a serious concern. So other vaccines, I think in our country we have to be only concerned about Covaxin and Covishield unless somebody is traveling to other countries. The local authorities can give all the detailed information about these. I'm just mentioning it. So this is Zydus Cadila has developed, which is again in phase 3, but it is affordable as it was funded by Department of Biotechnology, but as of now it is not still in the market. So Genova Biopharmaceuticals, again, this is a messenger RNA vaccine funded by Department of Biotechnology, and Biological E with agreement with Janssen Pharmaceuticals studies that it is in phase 1-2A trials, which is studying the dosage and test efficacy. It is still not in the market. So what is the advisory post lockdown and post when we got our freedom again? So again the advisory is only the 3 main things of wearing mask, social distancing and washing of hands. So I think if you stick to these basics, and now again I think I should add that everybody should get vaccinated. It may be a little percentage of immunity, but at least you will be safeguarded against serious illness which requires admission into the hospital and ventilatory care and ICU care. So final word is replicated vaccines allow single dose, others need booster doses. So we need booster doses, and outcomes are unlikely to be altered. Technology may tell you this and that, but we have to be on our guard. Vaccines are not the end. So please follow masking, please follow physical distancing, and please follow hand hygiene. So degree of vulnerability and mutations is very difficult to predict. I am talking with personal experience. Whatever I work from morning till night. So I have seen that many patients who are elderly, who have underlying lung disease, turn COVID positive, but they still have recovered. On the other hand, what we are seeing now is younger patients who come in, they are deteriorating from the 5th to 9th day, and they need admission, they need IV medication, they need oxygen support, and a couple of them end up into the intensive care unit. So we really don't know who will deteriorate. That is actually the scare people are facing, that is the panic people have. We don't know who's going to dip, who's going to land up in the ICU, and who's going to have the intensive care, need for an intensive care. And duration of protection also we don't know. Right now the figure they quote is maybe 6 months, and rate of reinfection we don't know. We have something called as antigenic drift. And antigenic, somebody is not muted, please, not out here. Thank you. So the virus keeps on changing its genomic sequence. So then reinfection will definitely happen. So what we understand is public health measures are a must. So we are again having something is in the air that we might be in a second lockdown. So please follow whatever the public health advises you to do.
That's it for now. Please stay safe, and like I have said earlier, stay very positive, stay strong, and cheerful, and have a very good day ahead.